welcome back to SHEDMAN 101. This is the second video in the series of my upgrade for my DJI 550 drone. It's a bit of a hodgepodge. If you remember, in the first series we made some little fiberglass boards to mount some RC receivers on, and I'll show you why. These were the boards we made. But first I'll take you through the reasons for this upgrade. So this is the GPS mast. I noticed it's got a little bit of twist in it, so while I'm here I'm just going to give it a little tweak up. I've got the wrong tweaker upper. So that's good. This is the video transmitter aerial, and this is the video transmitter. Underneath we have a HDMI to AV converter, which collects the signal from this little GoPro and hopefully sends it back to our field station. GoPro, converter, video transmitter, video aerial. Now they do say never switch on your video transmitter without an aerial, so I always keep my aerial in, but because we're going to be working on the underside, aerial and props are off. So get down to the business end of it. Don't want that for now. So I'll just take you through the reasons for the upgrade. Now, this gimbal and the video transmitter and AV converter are a standalone unit, and the gimbal is controlled by a separate transmitter, and the receiver for that transmitter is here. So my job for today is to cut these boards, drill them and fit them to this rail, these two rails. Now I'm so excited because I love to find things that work for cheap, and these ordinary cable clamps, it turns out, are just the right size to clip onto this 10mm rail. So if you can see that, it's a bit difficult black on black. So they clip nicely on there. So with 4 of those, we can drill the board and we can screw it onto those 4 clips. So as we saw in our last video, the best way to mark things like fiberglass or any shiny surface where you can't really get a pencil to mark on it is to put some masking tape on, and then you can easily mark it. So I've put another clip on. Oh yeah, you can just see the 2 clips, one there and there. So it's one on the outside, one on the inside. I'm going to mark those off and drill them. So I'm leaving enough board hanging over. I can get my screws in without interfering with either the receiver or the aerial mount. So if I just mark that one, and mark that one, oops. I'll square those across, drill the holes and get back to you. Right, well, I thought I'd just show you one of these boards marked off. I've drilled a couple of the holes just for the sake of the exercise. We'll drill 2 more. So there we are, that's the holes all drilled, all marked off. So now we can just remove the tape and if we're lucky, that board is going to fit. And just clean it up a little bit. Take off the sharp edges, all the hairy bits. It's pretty much there, as much as it's going to get. So now we're ready to mount that on the drone on the mounting rails and carry on. Now before we can mount this board, this one, we have to get our gimbal receiver off. Well, I'm hoping, very carefully, lovely jubbly. Look at that. So we probably have to do something with the wiring. This is the output from the receiver to the gimbal. It seems to work all right. And we're going to end up moving our wiring over, but for now we'll leave that there. and mount the board. So we want 2 more clips. Like that. Now, in the last video, I saved the offcuts from the board, as I mentioned, and it's fortuitous because they've just come in handy to make 2 little spacers to pop on there, just to bring that board up a touch, so we can actually probably so it looks like the aerial is going to go on that side. There we are. I love it when a plan comes together. So we should be able to fit the aerial on there and the receiver on there and still get at our connections. So on we go. Now the plan is beginning to come together. Forget that every time. So we're going to put an aerial there, which means we can still get at the screws to remove the unit without destroying everything. So we'll carefully put the tape it came with. One good thing about this thick double-sided tape is it gives a degree of protection against vibration. So that's that. Yeah, moment of doubt there. that we can put him flat for transportation. Bring him up, make sure he's clear of the gimbal for flight. Now the next job is to get some tape, pop that on there, a little bit of glue to glue these in. Do that. I might have to solder a bit of extension to the power supply for the receiver. Now we just cut a piece of tape, again it's the double-sided sticky. We have one for each end of that receiver. The tricky bit. Nightmare. Okay. So that looks quite a nice position. We just pop him on there. The plan is coming together. Now, we're just put a little drop of glue on there if we can. Put him in there. It really doesn't take too much to hold these. And that one in there. I found some heat shrink, which should be about right. And I can slide that over there like that. Let's see how we go with this. it remains now is to reconnect the power supply, so I have to extend the cables, and then we'll close the video. Okay, so I've had a cup of tea, and I think what I shall do is extend the B.E.C and mount it the same as this receiver, because you can see in here it's quite busy. Now on the right, as you're looking at it, that's the auxiliary outs, and the B.E.C is powering that rail with 5 volts steady voltage. On the left, as you're looking at it, that side, is the controller receiver input and the servos for the motors controlling the speed controllers. So as it's that busy, I'm going to extend this cable and fix the B.E.C on a little mounting board like the one we did the other receiver on. So this is the supply for the B.E.C. It takes its supply from the main rail that the battery supplies. So it's, I don't know, I think it's 12 to 24 volts input, but steady 5 volt output. So it's quite a sophisticated piece of equipment. Now this is the cable I'm going to extend. This is my Zener diode, which will stabilise the voltage. I'm going to extend this piece of cable because this trapezoid helps to stop it interference with other things. Plus they need a nice little whiz up. And again, we're going to go for some double-sided tape. Bit both ends. Now the tricky bit, careful to leave ourselves a bit of space to get the screws in, which I think we can just do like that. And make them nice and square. So there is much better fit. And the next job is to cable tie down the trapode. So that's ready to go back onto the drone now. Okay, we've moved on a little bit. Well, that's the B.E.C fitted on. I'm quite happy with that. That's more or less was my idea. So it's a lot better than it was. Now all we need to do is to plug it back in. So that's the power supply end. Now that's the power supply back on the auxiliary rail. Just put a little cable tie in there. So today's work needs a bit of tidying up here and there. So we've mounted this board and this receiver with this adjustable aerial, and we've mounted the power board back, made some extensions and mounted that one. We can remove these without disturbing the unit, as it were, so that's two separate units that we've made. Now that's just tidying up a little bit. Now the next job is to change the RC receiver and mount it somewhere there, probably. Not sure yet, have to think about it. Have to have a cup of tea on that one, because when I first built this, which is my first ever radio controlled model, I put the RC receiver for the controller here. This is it here. And then heat glued the aerial there. So I'm not getting very good range, and I think some of it's to do with this aerial is shaded by the arms and being on top as well. So the whole issue is going to be moved down to the bottom with the aerial sticking out the bottom. But that is another story, because it involves quite a lot of programming the transmitter and binding the radio and programming the radio. So that will be another video. Now I decided to fit the third board and move the receiver for the flight controller, the original one, and so I'm halfway there when it comes to fitting the new one. So that's the finished job with the antenna in the stowed position. So we just need to loosen those off. So we have a fair array of antenna there. Ready to go. So just a few more little tidy up jobs like this. Need sorting. And I'll be flying at the weekend. I've just got to go back on the computer to make sure I haven't broken anything while I've been doing all this. So there we are. Thank you very much. If you like this video, please subscribe and give it a tick.